comes to mind when you hear the word woman?
Woman. God created woman to bring into this world His chosen people. And the Lord made her special, a beautiful creation.
Woman, a giver of life, basically a womb man, a man with a womb, for carrying life. I think women are, when I hear the word women, I just think of power and creativity and life and just part of God's special creation, that He formed in a secret, intimate way that was completely different from every other part of creation.
A beautiful specimen that the Lord chose to bring into this world. Sometimes we misuse that term or don't even look at the reality of how important a woman is.
Helpmate to man, beautiful,
strong,
thoughtful, loving,
steadfast, immovable, unshakable. Those are the things that come to my mind off top. You think of just how crazy it is to be able to give birth. How crazy it is to be able to carry another human inside of you and feed them for 9 months, to nurture them. It's not easy. It's not easy to be a woman. There's so much power outside of just what people say it means to be a woman. The essence of what it means to be a woman is to share what you have inside of you, but not neglecting just how important and valuable you are. You give life, you nurture, you strengthen. You are a part of building communities.
When you think about the beginning, how do you feel towards, if I say the word Eve, what comes to mind in the beginning, and how you view her choice that she made?
I think Eve was a very intelligent, thoughtful person. I think that is absolutely why, the enemy of the human race chose her, why he came to talk to her first. She was very thoughtful, intelligent, and I think that she thought about things and thought about this world, and I think that directly relates to her being made in this image of God. So she being made in the image of God, having relationship with God, she had this intelligence and this mind, that thought about things. And so he brought those questions to her, that caused her to really begin to think and question about her world and where she lived and why she lived and why, what was acceptable and what wasn't acceptable and why wasn't it acceptable. She questioned wisdom, where did this wisdom come from? That God, that was the temptation. You can be like God. You can have this wisdom. You can have this knowledge that is from this outside of what God has said. creative, and she probably, because the Bible says she looked at that tree and it looked like it would make you wise, and she probably saw its beauty, and I think that she was a beautiful creature, and so she recognized beauty in others, and so she recognized the beauty around her, and that tree, that knowledge looked very inviting and beautiful, and she wanted a piece of it, not realizing, that it would be a downfall. But the thing about it is, the beauty of it is that God also allowed in Eve the redemption because of Christ. Christ would come through a woman, and so she was going to usher in a better life, a better redemption. And I think she had faith for that even after the fall. I think she had faith in her Father and God's love for her.
She did make a mistake, but I think the bigger mistake was made by Adam, who was the covering for her. And had he came into the scene and intervened on her behalf, the situation would have been different. But he joined in.
I think that she was definitely deceived into thinking that there was something outside of her father's love for her that could make her into something even more, not realizing that she already was, not realizing that in her she was the crown of creation. She was like the last piece that God made, already the crown of creation.
You look at just how much Adam loved Eve, that he would willingly go through the same deception that the enemy put to her. It shows just how much value the woman has. Adam knew before he bit the apple as well that what he was about to do was wrong, but because of, this is just my perception of it, but because of just how much love he had for her, whatever it is that she did was irrelevant at that point, love. And I think of loving a woman means being able to love her through her imperfections, which I think was what Adam did. And I don't necessarily think about what Eve did as being wrong. I obviously it is wrong, but I'm just saying that's irrelevant. I just think of just how much value you have to have that somebody would follow you into your own deception. And so that's what I think of it.
And as the Bible says that when a man find a wife, he find a good thing. Sometimes we use the Bible, but we don't never look into the heart of it, because without the woman, the man in the world, there's a little, well, everybody knows James Brown has said this is a man's world, but he said without a woman, it's nothing, really, to tell you the truth. But it really is a true saying, because without man can walk in the earth, but without the woman, he couldn't create life.
Messed up on the last. But anyways, so I don't know. Okay, we'll play around with it. So something. look for something. Yeah, because that sounds like.
What comes to mind when you hear the word black?
Black has a lot of different meanings. Black reminds me of night, of dark, of it has she basically was deceived in allowing herself to equality with creation, almost like rather than being the crown and the ruler of creation, Eve became kind of like she subjected herself to the created thing by listening to the words of something that was created beneath her.
first, Eve was the only woman in the world. She was happy with her husband. She didn't know nothing else but the husband and the things that was around her. But the one thing she did wrong is by listening to the enemy.
To the voice.
And that's the same thing for today. A woman is listening to the wrong voice. She can't make a decision for herself. Now, if he would have made a decision for herself and not listened to that enemy, she would have been in a better position. She was happy. She was content. But here come the intruder. And that's what sometimes a lot of women that are intruder into their life that don't mean no good to them. You gotta be on your best behavior and listen. Have an ear to listen, you know, what's right and wrong. And make that decision for yourself.
It's like us. He's placed in us that we have that power on the inside of us. And so, but we're often searching, looking for other things and looking at, and the world is such a distracting, it's a beautiful place. It can be an ugly place. But unfortunately, black has such a negative connotation, you know? Like, and I don't think that anything, like I'm wearing all black, like, I don't think anything that God created was created evil. Meaning, what I mean by that is, He said it was good. And we wouldn't even know the light if it were not for, it's like the light shines in the darkness. You know, it's not evil. It is just, it has its own purpose. Do you know what I mean? Like, really, when God created night and day, night is supposed to be, that's supposed to be our rest. That's when we're supposed to rest and hear from Him and have dreams and have visions. You know what I mean? Like, the day is for working, right? But the night is for resting and reflecting on God. So
The younger people don't know what fighting really is going to cost. They don't even know what they're facing because they're approaching it without any kind of guidance from people with understanding and who people have already traveled with and the avenues that they travel to get to the place where we are right now. Because sometimes we're fighting for something. You're fighting for a place that you already have.
Okay, what comes to mind when you hear the word black?
Black. What comes to my mind is lack of a civilization that we've wind up in a place like of being characterized over and over and over, really trying to define who you are.
In this day and age, obviously, there are a lot of stereotypes about black people. You know, whether you're African American, whether you're African, whether you're European African, if that even is a term, you know, there is specific stereotypes that you won't necessarily find in other types of races. And I think that speaks life. It speaks volumes to just how important it is to know your strength, how important it is to know the strength behind your color, because, you know, there is strength in being black.
unfortunately, it has had a negative connotation. A lot of times, black has meant something evil or something wrong. Black has, and it has denoted like something not good. Like, you think of the word blackmail. That's like when you are doing something evil.
Void, dark, That's color wise, but as far as black, it could be black as black people.
And the Bible said we wanted all the greatest thing that born into this world, but you wind up living your whole life trying to prove that to your adversary, the people that you may come in contact with, whether it be dear friends, whether it be a different nationality or not, but you still continue to have to identify yourself and justify even your own race. To my understanding, it's the thing that happened to Eve. I think it's happening to us daily, because the enemy is always coming to place doubt in our mind. You asked the question a few minutes ago what I thought about the woman, what I thought about even some part of dealing with creation, that God created you in a certain way, but there's an adversary, which is the enemy, and he'll always bring that challenge to each and every one of us every day, whether you be a woman or a man. Is that, well, God said this, but God knows that the minute that you eat from this tree, that you're gonna have the knowledge. You're gonna be like gods. And really, to tell you the truth, she was already like God. Same thing with us right now. When I said a minute ago, we're always trying to re-identify ourselves. We're always trying to build ourselves up. When you pull the mask down, pull the veil from your eyes, we already where we're supposed to be, because we're one of God's children and created with all the knowledge, and the knowledge that we have, the things, even our future. The pathway is already there, but the enemy will come to try to put a doubt inside of your mind, one way to another. But first of all, we have to know who we are and whose we are.
Who is a black woman that has had a significant impact on your life?
Well, there were many, but I would like to say one of the women that had a greater impact on my life, I know it was my oldest auntie.
My mother.
That would be my grandmother.
My mom.
My mother, Mildred O'Brien.
Reason why I said her, because I was a young man. We were living in poverty, we were living in racism, but that lady, she picked me up whenever somebody would say or cast a dark cloud. She was the first one to pray for me. My mother prayed, but she stood up when everybody came against my character as a little boy.
She made sure that I had everything that I needed. And then even above that, things that I wanted, she always was just there for me and provided for me.
She was like the daughter of a slave. I mean, my great-grandparents were probably slaves, from what I know. She took time with me, spoke into my life. She is a reason that I'm a believer today, because she prayed for me. She definitely had a great influence in my life.
Goodness. Having to grow up in the traditional, cultural, legalistic, religious place that it was for her to grow up in was hard for her. She experienced so many things, and for her to come out on top, give birth to 6 children, I know that's a lot of children right there. The one thing that I've always seen about her is consistency. She will never allow what's going on around her to put her down, regardless of how she might feel.
She taught me how to live in the good and how to live in the bad, and to know who I was, that nobody was no better than I was. She taught me how to cook, she taught me how to clean, and when I became a wife, she taught me From learning from her, I knew how to be the wife she was to her husband, to mine. She was a good thing to me, and I cherish everything that I've learned from her.
Even though that all the statistics say that you're nothing, but that's why. So, but once you find find it out about people that's standing, and no matter what it looks like, but they know that you're not going to remain there.
And some people would say she was a proud woman, but that's okay. They always say, don't never forget the bridge that crossed you over. And sometimes you gotta look at how our parents went through hard times and how they made it over. My mama would go to work for the white people and make $7 a day. And she'd come back home at them $7 and for 6 of us make the best meal we eat every day.
She played a very significant role in my life of instilling virtue, instilling honor, instilling respect, instilling hard work, and instilling love. The essence of what it means to be black. You think about the color black. Technically, it's not a color, it's a combination of all the colors put together. And I think that represents the strength of what it means to be black. To be black means to be stronger than what you see around you. To be black means to be stronger than the things inside of you that try to hold you down.
But these things really happen, But I thank God because I can still remember it and I will never forget it.
Eve gets a very bad rap, I think, but God had a plan for her.
But yes, woman is one of the beautiful things and best thing God made into this earth.
Okay, so let me ask it again. What comes to mind when you hear the word black?
I think that black also represents, something that God created. He created black. He created night. He created the beautiful black sky that we see at night. It's the canvas where the stars shine the brightest. There's also black coal that is actually can be formed into diamonds. And as far as the group of people, I believe that they are the original people on the earth. We know that life, began in Africa. And so black also represents, to me, life. It represents the beginning of life. And even in the Bible, it says that there was darkness and God spoke light into darkness, but there was that black canvas in the beginning.
Grandma, what comes to mind when you hear the word black?
Black, beautiful. A color made by God. Just as important as anybody else, any other color. And not afraid and not ashamed of that color.
I say that her parents might have been slaves, but they came out of slavery because her parents were able to, her mom was able to possess land that we still own today. That's just amazing, even for the time that they lived in, for them to have been able to have a piece of land and hold on to it and have that for generations is quite amazing.
And that's a few things. That's just a few things about her that, I remember that I like about her. And don't talk about Christmas. She loved Christmas. And the house would be decorated beautiful. Everything in gold and red. Beautiful. So that's a lot of things I could say about her. But that's just a few that I would like to say now.